This seemed a lot more interesting than just talking to a wall in my basement, so let's go outside today. I've had a lot of people ask me how I got started in all this. So I'll tell you the whole story. So when I was a kid, an actual little kid, I collected a lot of those little diecast cars in the day. Back then it was easy, because everywhere you went, they sold them. All the department stores, department stores, big box stores, everywhere that had a toy section, they'd have a whole bunch. So I'd get them, and I'd watch the races and the drivers and all that, and my parents would get me some too. And I had a pretty big collection, same thing everybody did, just race them around the hallways and stuff in the house. And then at some point I gave it up. I guess I started collecting Pokemon or something, I don't know. And I've always been a race fan. Then I got to a point in life a couple years ago where I just wasn't doing too good. Mentally, physically, I was just kind of in a bad spot. And I was at the mall one day just looking through one of those general local sports stores, and they had a whole lot of diecast there, and I hadn't seen them in a while because they had stopped being in regular stores, and I hadn't gone looking for diecast stores, and I didn't really go to a whole lot of races at the time, so I didn't get all the souvenirs. Look at those butterflies. So I bought one, and then a couple weeks later I bought another. It was like Stewart and then Montoya, something else. And I guess because I didn't have a whole lot going on at the time, I was thinking, well, I'm just going to collect the crap out of these. Maybe it was a little obsessive. So they started piling up. I started getting more and more into racing because I didn't have a whole lot else I could do at the time. Collecting more and more, and these are all just the little ones because I didn't have a ton of money, and you don't need money or space to get those. And then the store closed down in the mall because it was in a mall and it was a store, and people don't like those anymore. But I've been going to tracks more and more, going to Dover and Pocono, so I could get some there, and I was starting to get the hang of eBay too. But I was also turning into a fan of some of the smaller teams and drivers. And I really wanted those cars, and they didn't make them, and I wasn't sure if they ever would. So I was wondering if there was a way to get them from somebody else, if there were people that customized them, and I knew nothing about this at the time. I wasn't on Twitter, I wasn't doing any of that. So I got on eBay, and yeah, there were some. So I bought one, and it was a lot of money for just a little 1/64th scale thing. The problem was, once you buy one like that, then you're going to want more and more and more, and they don't always have the people that would make them. They're just doing them out of courtesy to sell. These weren't orders or anything. So I'd have to wait and wait and wait until I'd see one that I'd want. Hope that I was the high bidder. And sometimes they were going like over $30, and I just wasn't willing to go there. It was turning into a little bit of a hassle. Buying and then waiting and waiting and waiting, and 3 weeks later you get it, because it turned out maybe they hadn't actually built it and they were going to build it once you bought it. And I was getting greedy. I wanted more and more and more. I think there was a Landon Castle car at the time that I really wanted, and just no one was making it, and it was really starting to tick me off, and I saw one and it wound up going for $45 or something, so I just tapped out of that. And mind you, I really didn't have any kind of experience in what you see now as custom business. I'm sorry, it's like 98 freaking degrees out here. Didn't have any experience in that, but I was a creative kind of person. I, make videos that people don't watch, write books that publishers don't want. So I got to thinking, all right, I'm all right with being creative. I like putting things together. So maybe I can do it on my own. But I knew I was going to have to do research. I wanted to do a good job. I wanted to make things for me that I thought were good. I didn't want to just, get some construction paper and crayons and glue and smack it all together. So I had to do the research, asked people who were doing it what they would do, got all the tools together, help from my dad. Hope no one's about to pop out from behind this fence. No, I'm going car. I got a crosswalk. Got everything I needed. I know for the little cars, I was going to need a drill. Or at first a drill didn't work, so we moved to a drill press. Fortunately, that wasn't too hard. Found a place that sold decals. And I made the plunge. I'm going to stop till I pass these people so they don't think I'm nuts. Hey, it's the orange cone. What are you doing here, buddy? Orange cone. Okay, so I sat down and hammered it out. It was a Justin Allgaier car, one that I wanted. It was kind of easy, just one shade of paint, and it was terrible. I mean, I accepted it. It was really bad. I didn't know how the clear coating worked. All the decals got all wrinkled up and everything. I didn't know how super glue worked. Super glue gives off fumes that fog everything up, so you can't really put something that small back together. Super glue. I quickly learned. I'm sorry to anyone that bought a car for me at the time. I was using that because it's probably junk. Things started to settle in, and I started falling into a formula of, all right, I'll find some decals I like, make one for me, and one to sell. This is still on eBay. Things were going good. Not really making money, but that's not the point. Hey, turtle. At this point, I still hadn't moved on to the big cars, which I know everybody likes. I was kind of afraid because they cost more for the decals and more to actually buy the cars. Little did I know they'd be easier to take apart and do than the small ones. Get out of my face. Yeah. And one day, when I finally took the plunge, again, I gotta stop using that phrase, and made one. It was an ARCA car. I'd always wanted to do ARCA. I love the ARCA series. I was getting into that. But nobody sold decals for them, so I had to stitch something together really sloppy in Photoshop. It was okay. I wouldn't like it if I were to do it again now. But I went to sell it on eBay. And it's sold to, it doesn't really matter who, but after it was done, I got a message on there from a guy who knew the driver's father. And he gave me his email address and told me to contact him, and I did. And that was my first industry customer, I guess you say. And then I knew, all right, if we're going to do this, whoop, can't ride up that hill. I was going to have to get serious about it. Mosquito, get out of my ear. I said, get out. So it was a learning process from there. Every car I made had to be better. Had to figure out better ways of making decals, which I can do from scratch now for a lot of cars. Put them together better, paint better, just trial and error. I knew there had to be a better way. I'd seen people that did better stuff than I did, and there's still people that do better stuff than I do. So I knew there had to be a way, and I had to figure it out. And one of the coolest parts now is when I get messages like that. Somebody who will tell me, well, I'm actually the crew chief for this car, or I'm his kid's uncle, or his mom, or somebody. Kind of a weird backdoor way into the sport for somebody that knows nothing about actual cars or racing actual cars other than just watching on TV. I'm going to stop for this guy. So that's the cool part of it. I didn't get into this like to, be a racetrack brat and just schmooze with the drivers and all that. It's cool when it comes up. Not what I expected when I started out. I apologize for this really halting kind of speaking because it's hot as hell. It looks like it's going to storm. I don't know if you can see how dark it is. We'll turn around so we don't get near that loud highway. Yep. Huh. So now I'll go to a track, and the point isn't to be recognized. I don't show my face. I know if I did, you all would be distracted every time you saw my work. Think about what a hunk that guy is. Yeah. It's cool when someone introduces me or I introduce myself and say, oh, it's that guy. I get a kick out of that. And now I've got the whole assembly line working. And it's kind of funny when people, real hobbyists will start talking to me about stuff, and it's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just someone that happened to luck into all this and figured out one very small niche. Boy, I hope this is all coming out. And I'm very thankful for the people in the community that I met. Just the fans and other people on Twitter that have helped me or that have bought from me or just been nice to me. And then all the drivers and people that we get to pester online and occasionally at the track. It's pretty cool that you can be connected so close to everything now. Now, what was the point of this, really? Ugh. To the point where you feel like you know everybody. Okay. Ah. All right. We're coming up on the most famous racetrack in the state of Maryland. The famed 1/32nd mile of Colgate here. See what kind of lap we can lay down. I'm such a dork. Ah yes, the little oval. Really, I mean, I understand when you're going to install a walking path or something. This is ridiculous. Oh, it's not an oval. I always thought this was an oval. I've never actually been back here. Road course. The world's shortest walking path. Well, it is really getting dark out there. Fortunately, I got this TRD under the hood. Stay ahead of the field, stay ahead of the weather. Oh, this is not the bike for this. Alright, fast speed, fast speed. Shifting. Not that much. Okay. Oh! Feather the brakes. Go for it. Arc the corner. I'm gonna fall off. Oof. All right, I don't know why I'm filming this. See ya.